Chapter 6. Excuse me, Felicia interrupted. Are you talking about Dr. Jones, the college professor? Yeah, the guy named Bobby replied. He had 3 days of stubble on his face and a baseball cap that sat backward on his head. What's it to you? I know him, she said brightly. My father is good friends with him. If you want, I could watch his house for you. Really? The second guy piped up. He wore his hair in ragged spikes and had Greek letters on his t-shirt. Take it, Bobby, and let's hit the road. Hold it, Bobby replied. I'm not just going to hand over Dr. Jones's keys. How do I know you really know Dr. Jones? Because I do, Felicia replied. The second guy grinned. I like her, Bobby. Just give her the keys. Bobby's eyes narrowed. You know where his house is? Over on Fear Street, right? Yeah, number 627? Come on, Bobby, the second guy urged. Hold on a minute, Bobby snapped. He glared at Felicia. Dr. Jones is gone for at least a month. He's on safari or something. He asked me to check the house every day, feed the cat, and water the plants. You think you can handle it? Yeah? Felicia rolled her eyes. I think I can handle it. Bobby reached into his pocket and tossed Felicia a single key. Don't mess this up for me, he warned. I know, Felicia replied. Your B+ is writing on it. All right, man, the second guy yelled. Let's hit the road. Come on. They slid out of the booth and headed for the door. Felicia cleared her throat loudly. Bobby? He stopped and glared back at her. Now what? Well, I think I heard you say that Dr. Jones gave you $100 up front before he left. He frowned. What about it? Give me 50 and your worries are over. Kitty Cat won't starve. 50? If a big smart college guy is worth 100, I figure a high school girl is worth 50, don't you? You have to be kidding, Bobby protested. Give her the money, man, his friend urged. Let's go. Think about it, Bobby, Felicia pointed out. You're still getting $50 for doing nothing. Bobby shook his head, but he reached into his pocket and fished out several crumpled bills. He dropped them on the table in front of her. I'll be back in 2 weeks, he said. Leave the key in the mailbox so I can pick it up. He turned to go, then paused. By the way, what's your name? Felicia, she said quickly. Felicia Smith. Uh-huh, he replied. Thanks, Felicia Smith. I owe you one. Forget it. You paid me. Bobby nodded, and the two guys strode out of the donut hall. Felicia slipped back into her booth and smiled. I am so smooth, she thought. Felicia found Dr. Jones's house with no problems. The large gray Victorian mansion sat far back from the street. She walked up the steps to the porch and peered in the front window. She couldn't see much. Felicia slid the key into the lock and opened the front door. It swung wide on creaky hinges. She stepped inside slowly. A big gray tabby cat meowed a greeting. Felicia picked the cat up and checked her ID tag. Miss Quiz, Felicia read aloud. Strange name for a cat. The cat had to weigh at least 15 pounds. I bet she brings home large dead rodents in her mouth and leaves them on the back porch as a surprise. Miss Quiz sniffed Felicia and offered a soft purr. Felicia set the cat back down. She locked the front door and checked all the other doors. Then she checked the windows and pulled all the shades. When she felt convinced the house was secure, she returned to the den. She slumped down in Dr. Jones's reading chair and smiled at Miss Quiz sitting across the room. I'll be safe here with you, right, kitty? Miss Quiz stared back at her, yellow eyes unblinking. Felicia shivered. How could she feel safe in a place called Fear Street? Felicia showed up at Shadyside High early the next morning. She marched into the office with confidence and told her biggest lie yet. The secretary registered her with a smile. She didn't even question it when Felicia explained that the transcripts from her previous school were on the way. Within an hour, Felicia had an armful of books and a full class schedule. Felicia managed to open the combination lock on her locker on the first try. She stashed a book she wouldn't need until after lunch. Then she pulled a worn, wrinkled picture of a handsome older man out of her backpack. She smiled. Dad. She taped a photo inside the locker, then slammed the door shut. She moved off to her first class. It felt so good to slip back into a normal life again, become part of the crowd, just another ordinary high school kid. Felicia loved every second of her first day. After her last class ended, Felicia dumped her books in her locker and headed for the front doors. She caught sight of a guy staring at her from down the hall. Her heart started to beat faster. Oh no. Why is he staring? Does he know who I am? Chapter 7. Felicia shot another glance at the boy. Dark hair, brown eyes. Nick. Felicia let her breath out in a whoosh as he hurried over to her. What are you doing here? He demanded. He's even cuter than I remembered, Felicia thought. I'm going to school here now, she managed to reply. Is there something wrong with that? No way, Nick exclaimed. In fact, it's the best news I've heard all day. I guess this means everything's cool with you? I mean, about yesterday and everything. Felicia nodded. I worked some things out. Shadyside is home for now. For now, Nick repeated. Neither of them said anything for a long moment. Felicia couldn't take her eyes away from Nick's. Stop staring, don't you know it's rude? She teased. Hey, you started it. There's a clock above your head, Felicia explained. I wanted to know what time it was. Yeah, right. Felicia pointed at the other wall. Nick glanced over his shoulder and saw the clock. Oh, Nick muttered. Felicia burst out laughing. Gee, thanks, Nick growled. I think I'll go now. Oh, don't be a baby, Felicia said as they wandered outside. Which way are you headed? He asked. Fear Street, Felicia replied. A strange expression crossed Nick's face. What? Felicia asked. Nothing, he replied quickly, not meeting her eyes. Felicia didn't buy that. What? She repeated. A lot of things have happened on that street. Horrible things. I bet I can top them all, Felicia thought. It seems normal enough, she commented. I guess, he mumbled. Hey, how about a hamburger? I'd love it, Felicia replied. But don't let him get too close, she reminded herself. You can't go spilling your guts to some stranger, even if he seems like a great guy. I'll even cook it for you, Nick promised. You cook? Felicia teased. Yeah, I work part-time at the Burger Basket. Cool. As they walked, Felicia asked Nick questions about school. She made sure their conversation didn't get too personal. When they arrived at the Burger Basket, Nick led Felicia behind the counter and into the kitchen. A blond guy refilling ketchup and mustard containers grinned at Nick. I'm saving the mayonnaise for you, he called. I hate that stuff. A tall, skinny man with a flat-top haircut, wearing a white shirt and black tie, marched out from a back room. Hey, Nick, he barked. Get the lead out, man. You're late. Sorry, Barry, Nick responded. I got hung up. So I see, Barry replied. I want 24 burgers cranked out for the dinner rush. Move it. I'm on it. Nick slid out of his backpack and gestured at Felicia. This is Felicia. Felicia, Barry nodded. The hitchhiking damsel in distress. So Nick bragged about what a hero he was? Felicia guessed. Yeah, he told me all about it when he stopped in for his usual breakfast burger this morning, Barry replied. He said he took on 4 guys to save you. 4, huh? Felicia replied. He wishes. 4 guys, Barry. I'm not kidding, Nick said with a smile. Quit while you're ahead, Barry warned, and get into your uniform. I want those burgers ready. Nick headed off for the restroom. Okay, Felicia thought. Now's your chance. Any job openings? She asked Barry. Barry folded his arms across his chest. He studied her. He didn't reply. I need the money, Felicia added. Barry stroked his bony chin. You ever work a grill before? Yeah, at a hamburger hut, Felicia replied. Another big fat lie, she thought. And how hard can it be? I'll just copy what everyone else is doing. How about this? Barry said. Stop in tomorrow. I'll try to get you a shift this weekend. Will you work nights? She needed to work as many hours as possible so she could afford a place to stay when the house-sitting deal was over. Any place, any time, Felicia replied, and I won't be late like Nick. Hey, I heard that, Nick complained. He strode toward them in an orange and brown uniform. I'm going to be working here, Felicia told him, so you can walk me here tomorrow, in case those 4 guys show up again. Sounds good, Nick mumbled. He pulled on an orange visor. Yeah, Barry chuckled. Xan will love that. Nick glared at his boss. Who's Xan? Felicia asked. I'm Xan, came a cold, stern voice from behind Felicia. Felicia turned. A slim girl with long black hair and bright blue eyes stood in the doorway. She held a head of lettuce in one hand and a huge carving knife in the other. Uh-oh, Felicia thought. This must be Nick's girlfriend. I bet that's his glass ring on the chain around her neck. Xan, Nick said quickly. This is Felicia. She's the one I told you about. Oh, yeah, Xan nodded. The hitchhiker? I'm Xan. It's short for Alexandria. Xan smiled. I'm so glad you're okay. Who knows what would have happened if Nick hadn't come along? I know, Felicia replied awkwardly. Felicia is going to be working here too, Barry announced. Then he pointed at Nick. Burgers, and sang Kevin on his break. I want him back before the rush. Nick hurried over to the grill. A moment later, the blond guy ambled past them. He poured himself a soda and headed out the back door. Hey, Barry, the kid behind the register called. I have an O-ring. Barry fished a key out of his pocket and hurried over to the front counter, leaving Xan and Felicia alone. Felicia struggled to come up with something to say. So how long have you worked here? She asked. Xan didn't answer. She studied Felicia. Felicia felt the hairs on the back of her neck prickle. She wished Xan would stop staring at her like that. Her icy blue eyes gave Felicia the creeps. Xan marched up to Felicia. She raised the butcher knife in her hand, pointed it at Felicia's chest. A gasp escaped Felicia's lips. She stumbled backward, her eyes locked on the gleaming blade. Chapter 8. Xan advanced. You might owe Nick your life, Xan said, her voice flat and cold. But he's going with me, remember that? Felicia felt her power swell inside her. No, she thought, don't let it out, not here. She took another step back and banged into the wall. Xan swung the knife down at Felicia. Whoa, Nick screamed. Xan laughed and lowered the knife to her side. Hey, Felicia, it was just a joke, she said. I've got to slice some lettuce. She waved with the knife still in her hand. Felicia couldn't speak. She needed all her concentration to control her power. She tuned out the sounds of the restaurant, tuned out the sounds of Nick and Xan talking. She willed the power back inside her, but the power kept growing. It's going to blow, Felicia thought. The power burst out. Felicia forced it away from herself, away from Xan and Nick and Barry, away from all the people in the building. The French fry vat began bubbling and hissing, spraying hot oil onto the floor. A stack of wet trays toppled off a counter. The lights flickered. What's going on? Barry yelled. Felicia took a deep breath as the last of the power flew out. It's okay, she told herself. It's over. And you didn't hurt anybody. Weird, Nick cried. I think we blew a fuse. We still need some replacements, he reminded Barry. We shouldn't be using the wrong size. I'll pick some up, Barry promised. Now, back to work. Xan turned to face Felicia. I'm sorry I scared you. I really was just kidding around. No problem, Felicia replied, but I don't like knives. Oh wow, I forgot, Xan moaned. That creep in the car pulled a knife on you, didn't he? Yes, Nick snapped. Wow, I am so sorry, Xan repeated. Really? Felicia smiled. It's okay. Come on, guys, Barry barked. Fun time is over. Felicia, I expect to see you here tomorrow. Thanks, Barry, Felicia said. Nick made her a burger to go. See you guys tomorrow, she called as she headed out. That was way too close, Felicia thought as she started home. My power almost got away from me. Something terrible could have happened, the way it did in Ridgely. Hey, Felicia, sit over here. Felicia spotted Xan waving to her from a table in the back of the lunchroom. Nick sat beside her. Felicia carried her tray over to the table and sat down across from her friends. Nice to eat a burger that someone else cooked, huh? Nick asked. No kidding. Felicia squeezed some ketchup onto her hamburger. By 9 o'clock last night, I felt ready to pass out. I'm glad you showed up when you did, Xan said. We never have enough people on weekends. Felicia had worked shifts at the Burger Basket on Saturday and Sunday. It was hot, messy work, but she didn't care. Barry and Nick kept her laughing, and Xan had turned out to be pretty cool. Is the basket much different than Hamburger Hut? Nick asked. He mashed his fork into his chicken pot pie, creating a brown-green pool of goop on his plate. Not really, Felicia answered. She wrinkled her nose as she watched Nick continue mangling his food. Are you really going to eat that? In a minute, he told her. It's not ready yet. Nick isn't happy until he's sure it's dead, Xan whispered to Felicia. They both laughed. It looks like something he ate an hour ago, not something he's about to eat, Xan joked. Nick mashed his food even harder. It's not as bad as what he did with the leftovers from the salad bar yesterday? Xan shook her head. At work, Nick used the food to make all kinds of sick jokes. Felicia loved his twisted sense of humor. I can't believe the stuff Barry lets you get away with, Xan added. What can I say? I'm his star burger burner. And Felicia is the rookie of the week? Xan said. Totally, Nick agreed. He raised his Coke high in the air. Don't pour that on my food, Xan cried. Felicia covered her burger with both hands. A toast, Nick explained. To Felicia, the newest member of the hamburger team. Xan clapped, and they all took a swallow of soda. Thank you, Felicia cried, as if accepting an Academy Award. It felt so good to have friends again, people to hang out with, as long as she didn't let them get too close, as long as she didn't do anything to hurt them. After her last class, Felicia stopped by her locker and dumped her books. She finished all her homework in study hall, so she didn't have to lug anything home. Cool, she thought. No homework, no work. I'm going to find an old movie on TV and make a big bowl of popcorn. The perfect night. Well, almost perfect, she admitted to herself. Nick won't be there. Stop torturing yourself, she thought. He's off limits. He's a friend's boyfriend, and that's that. She started to slam the locker shut when she noticed an envelope taped on the inside of the door, right next to the picture of her dad. She yanked it off. It was blank. Strange, she thought. She tore the envelope open and pulled out a single sheet of folded paper. Part of it appeared to be burned. Charred flakes littered the bottom of the envelope. Felicia unfolded a sheet of paper and gasped. Someone had scribbled a note in orange marker. I know all about you. Felicia felt a wave of nausea sweep over her. She leaned against her locker. This couldn't be happening. Below the note was a crystal-clear photocopy of Felicia's driver's license, with her real name and her address in Ridgely. A hot, sour taste hit the back of Felicia's throat as she stared down at the photo on the license. Her face had been burned away. Chapter 9. Felicia's hands began to shake. Someone knows who I am. Someone knows my last name is Fletcher, not Smith. Someone knows I'm from Ridgely. But who? Who? Felicia felt a burst of energy rocket through her. The power. She could feel it growing. No, she told herself, you have to stop it. You can't let it out again. But she couldn't control it. It grew too fast. The row of lockers in front of her began to tremble. The metal doors rumbled and clanged against their locks. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Books slammed against the locker doors. Felicia's locker door went berserk, slamming open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. Felicia threw her weight against the door and forced it closed. She could feel the metal straining against her. She dug her feet into the floor, struggling to keep the door shut. Bang! It sprang free. Felicia dropped to her knees. She huddled on the floor with her hands over her ears, trying to block out the horrible clanking and thumping sounds. A surge of anger swept through her. She shoved herself to her feet. Stop it, she screamed. Stop it. I control you. You don't control me. Seconds later, the locker stilled. The hall became silent again. Felicia scanned the hall. Did anyone see what happened? No, no one there. Good thing I took my time after class, Felicia thought. It gave everyone a chance to clear out. Felicia shut her locker door. She snatched the lock closed and gave the knob a twirl. Then she stuffed the frightening note into her backpack and sprinted out through the front doors. Felicia slowed down when she reached the sidewalk. Could someone be following me? Does the person who sent that note know I live on Fear Street? They knew which locker was mine. She forced herself to act naturally. She wandered through town pretending to window shop. Every block she would glance behind her, trying to spot someone sticking with her. No one. When Felicia reached the donut hall, she decided to go inside. She ordered a soda and took it to a booth by the window. No one here knows the truth, Felicia told herself, as she stared out the window. Even if someone found out her real name, that didn't mean they knew everything about her past. That didn't mean they knew the reason she had to leave Ridgely. What should she do now? Should she run away again? Move on to a different town? Or should she risk staying in Shadyside where she had a job and a place to live? And Nick, she thought, but I don't really have him, do I? Felicia wished she could talk everything over with someone, really talk, and she knew only one person she trusted to listen. I could call him, Felicia thought. I could call Nick. That's no big deal. That's not trying to steal Xan's boyfriend. Felicia rushed over to the payphone and dialed the burger basket. Barry answered and got Nick for her without asking any questions. Hey, what's up? Nick asked cheerfully. Felicia could hear someone placing a drive-thru order in the background. Nothing, I guess. Good, Felicia, she joked to herself. But it felt harder than she thought to talk about herself, even to Nick. It doesn't sound like nothing. Nick paused. What's the matter? Is Xan there? She asked. Nope, Nick replied. She's off today. Oh, maybe this is a stupid idea, Felicia thought. It's safer not to talk to him. Safer for me, and for Nick. Felicia, whatever it is, you can talk to me, you know? Nick sounded worried. Felicia sighed. I guess that's why I called. It's slow right now. I'll convince Barry to give me my break early, Nick replied. Where are you? Felicia hesitated a moment. The donut hole, she answered. Nick, you on vacation or something? She heard Barry yell. Barry's having a cow. I've got to go, but I'll be there soon. Nick hung up. Felicia returned to her booth. About 15 minutes later, Nick strode in. He didn't even take time to change out of his uniform, Felicia noticed. Nick plopped down across from her. What happened? He asked immediately. Nothing, really. I guess I'm afraid. Of what? Felicia wanted to tell Nick everything, but she couldn't risk it. I'll tell him a little, she decided, just a little. She took a deep breath, then began. You and Xan are the first friends I've had in a while, she admitted. Things are going really well for me and Shady's side, and What? Nick prodded gently. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose everything, she replied softly. I'm afraid I'll have to leave. Why? You just got here, Nick protested. I can't help it, Nick. Felicia tried to keep her voice down. She couldn't let her emotions get out of control. I'm a runaway, and that's what I do. I run. Nick grabbed her hand and squeezed it. So, stop running, he stated. I don't know what's chasing you. Either you will tell me or you won't, but it doesn't matter. I'm still your friend. So is Xan. We don't want you to leave. Felicia stared down at the table. Nick wouldn't say that, she thought, if he knew the terrible thing I did. I don't want to leave, she whispered. She gazed into his eyes. I like it here. So stay, Nick replied. Whatever it is, I'll be here for you. I promise. Felicia smiled. Why are you being so nice to me, Nick? You don't know anything about me. He shrugged. I don't know. Good answer, Felicia muttered. They laughed. Felicia hadn't told him much, but she felt better. Maybe I can stay, she thought, but I need to find out who sent that note. I need to find out how much they know. It's getting late, Nick said. I have to get back or Barry will have a fit. Are you going to be okay? Felicia nodded. Thanks for coming, Nick. It really means a lot. Nick stood up. You want to ride somewhere? He asked. Barry can wait a few more minutes. No, Felicia said quietly. I'm going to hang out here a while. Okay, he replied. Maybe someday I'll see where you live. Maybe, she answered. But probably not, she added silently. Felicia climbed out of the booth. She gave Nick a hug. He hesitated, then returned it. Nick stepped back. Bye, he mumbled. He headed for the door. Felicia took a deep breath. She had a lot to think about, but at least she knew Nick would be there for her, and Xan too. They were her friends, her only friends. I'll never let anything happen to them, she vowed, and I'll never hurt them the way I hurt Andy and Christy. I'll never use my power that way again. My power to kill. Chapter 10. Ridgely. Dr. Shanks keeps pushing me harder and harder, Felicia complains to her friend Debbie Wilson. He scares me sometimes. He's so intense. Felicia and Debbie strolled along the beach not far from Ridgely College. The sand felt so good between Felicia's toes. After hours in the lab, she needed a long walk on the beach to keep sane. Dr. Shanks hardly pays any attention to me, Debbie said. I should just resign from the experiment. It's as if he thinks I'm a waste of his time. You're lucky, Felicia told her. Debbie ran her hands through her short blonde hair, making it curlier than ever. I'm lucky, Debbie cried. You have this amazing gift, and you're afraid to use it. Felicia picked up a shell and threw it into the ocean. You think it's so wonderful and exciting, but I hate it. I don't want to spend my life being studied by a bunch of doctors. Why don't you go somewhere else? Debbie suggested. You hate your aunt. You hate Ridgely. I couldn't do that to Aunt Margaret. She's taken care of me since my dad died, Felicia explained. She treats me as if I were her own daughter. But you don't get along, Debbie pointed out. Sure we do. Sometimes. You call all that arguing sometimes? Debbie asked. Come on, Debbie. Everyone fights. It's life. I wouldn't put up with it for a second, Debbie insisted. Well, you're not me, okay? Felicia snapped. Okay. So, how many pencils did you shoot at Dr. Shanks today? Debbie asked, changing the subject. Felicia sighed. None. He got so angry. But I couldn't find the power today. I wish I could find it even once, Debbie sighed. It's not so great, Felicia told her. Who cares about dumb telekinetic powers? You're really smart. That's more important. I'm smarter than most of the doctors testing me, Debbie agreed. But a lot of people are smart. She kicked some sand. No one can do what you do. You're special. They passed an old abandoned beach house. Most of its windows broken, most of its shingles missing. I hate that house, Felicia declared. It's so ugly. So tear it down, Debbie suggested. I can't knock that house down, Felicia exclaimed. Are you nuts? I would, Debbie said. If I had the power, I would have fun with it. I wouldn't stand around whining all the time. Felicia grew angry. Debbie always got this way when they talked about Felicia's power. Debbie was jealous, bottom line. Debbie has everything going for her, Felicia thought. Guys love her curly blonde hair, her pretty face, her full lips. She's smarter than everyone in school. But Debbie wanted the power, the only thing she couldn't have. She wondered why Debbie joined in the long, torturous experiments when she didn't show signs of any power. Did she hope she would develop it? Not likely. Felicia's father said Felicia had the power at birth, just as he had. Forget it, Debbie finally said. You probably couldn't even dent that house anyway. It's a lot bigger than a pencil. I hate her when she's like this, Felicia thought. Hate her. She reached down deep within herself, using the hot energy of her anger, and she found the power, felt it, caressed it. She gave Debbie a grin. You just watch me, she said. Felicia turned toward the house. She concentrated, felt all the anger churning within her. She felt the power surging up with every heartbeat. Soon, the picture became clear in her mind, the roof caving in, the wooden walls splintering, the chimney crumbling in a cloud of red brick dust, the whole house falling apart. And I'm the hammer, Felicia thought. She shoved the power out, aiming at the house. Beads of sweat formed in her forehead and rolled down her face. More, she thought, more. She heard a groan from the house. A blast of adrenaline shot through her. It's working. I'm doing it. One of the windows cracked. Another exploded, glass flying in all directions. Nails squealed as they flew out of the wood planks. Every muscle in Felicia's body hummed. All the power inside her broke free and thundered toward the house. The house shuddered violently. Then it came down all at once. Glass flying, wood splitting, plaster crumbling into powder. Felicia felt exhilarated and terrified. It's too much power, too much power. What's that? Debbie cried. Felicia listened. Screams. Screams from inside the house, inside the crumbled, twisted wreck. The two girls sprinted up the dunes as fast as they could. Then Felicia froze. Oh no! Felicia's stomach twisted into knots. No, no, no! She pointed at two cars that had been hidden behind the house. Debbie's face went pale. Those are Andy and Christy's cars, Debbie whispered. Andy Murray and Christy List, the class couple. They started dating in junior high. They couldn't be in the house. Please, please, Felicia prayed. Don't let them be in the house. Chapter 11. Come on, Debbie yelled. She grabbed Felicia and pulled her up to the remains of the house. Felicia grabbed a board and threw it behind her. She grabbed another one. Splinters bit into her palms. Nails tore her skin. But Felicia didn't care. She had to find her friends. Andy! Christy! Felicia shouted until her throat felt raw. She continued digging through the debris. Plaster dust filled her nose and lungs. She choked and coughed, her eyes burning. No, Debbie wailed. Felicia ran over to her. Debbie turned away. She dropped to her knees and started to vomit. Felicia stared down and saw an arm, slender and freckled, with a friendship ring on one finger. Oh, Christy, Felicia cried. One of the support beams had cut off Christy's arm. Felicia could see the white bone and the ragged layers of muscle. Felicia knelt and slowly uncovered the rest of Christy's body. She found Andy lying close beside his girlfriend. I wouldn't have recognized him, Felicia thought. If I hadn't seen his car, I wouldn't have known this was Andy. Bricks had crushed Andy's face, his nose and lips, his eyelids scraped raw. Tears stung Felicia's eyes. I did this, she thought. I killed them. Shady sighed. Felicia shivered. She would never forget the dead, staring eyes of Andy and Christy as long as she lived. She pushed herself to walk faster, unable to shake the feeling that someone watched her, followed her from a distance. She wanted to be home, locked safe inside with Miss Quiz. Almost dark, Felicia thought as she turned onto Fear Street. Faint yellow light gleamed in some windows, but most remained dark. Dr. Jones's house came into view. Felicia took a quick glance behind her. The street still stood empty. Good. She marched across the lawn and climbed the porch steps, two at a time. I have to get inside. Now. Felicia yanked the key from her pocket and dropped it. Calm down, she ordered herself. No one is following you. You're home. You're okay. She reached down and grabbed the key from the porch. A sliver of wood jabbed into her finger. Ouch! Felicia exclaimed. She pulled the splinter out with her teeth. Miss Quiz stood up at her spot on the living room windowsill. The cat gave a huge stretch. Felicia tapped on the glass. Hey, kitty, she called. She slid her key into the lock, and the front door swung open. It was unlocked, Felicia realized. I locked it this morning, I'm positive. Felicia's heart skipped a beat. Is someone in there? A burglar? Or the person who left me that note? The person who burned away my picture? A tiny ripple of her power ran through her. No, she thought, I'm not letting it out. It's too dangerous. Felicia stepped inside and paused. Miss Quiz ran up and rubbed against her legs, purring loudly. Miss Quiz isn't upset, she noted. Maybe nobody came in after all. Cats aren't like dogs, Felicia warned herself. Miss Quiz wouldn't care if a stranger came into the house, as long as he left her alone. Felicia moved into the foyer. She peered into the living room. Empty. She took a deep breath and darted into the dining room. Empty. Felicia snatched up the steel poker from the fireplace stand. It felt good in her hand. Heavy. The doorway to the kitchen stood across the room. Find a light switch and flick it on, she told herself. That's all you have to do. She chanced to step forward and stopped. What was that? Creak. She heard the sound again. Where is it coming from? Upstairs? Downstairs? Right behind her? She couldn't tell. Felicia spun around. Nothing behind her. Keep moving, she urged herself. She scurried to the kitchen doorway and ran her hands across the wall. Where is the light switch? Got it. Felicia snapped the light on. The kitchen stood empty too. Next came Felicia's favorite room, Dr. Jones's den where she likes to read and study. And after that, I have 2 more floors upstairs and the basement to check, she thought grimly, if I don't have a heart attack first. Felicia tightened her grip on the poker and crept into the hallway. Maybe I did forget to pull the front door all the way shut this morning, she thought, but she knew she would never forget something like that. The hallway narrowed as Felicia neared the den. Tall shelves overflowing with books towered over her on both sides. Felicia couldn't believe how many books Dr. Jones owned. It would take her a lifetime to make a dent in them. She reached the doorway to the den and fumbled for the light switch. A heavy hand came down on her shoulder. Get away from me, Felicia screamed. She turned around fast and raised the poker high over her head. Meow. Miss Quiz leaped from Felicia's shoulder to the top bookshelf. Felicia moaned. Oh, Miss Quiz, you almost got your head wonked. What are you trying to do to me? Meow, was Miss Quiz's only response. You should be sorry, Felicia muttered. She turned back to the den and flicked on the light. What she saw made her stomach clench. A sharp acid taste flooded the back of her throat. Someone has been here. The contents of Dr. Jones's roll-top desk lay scattered on the floor, along with pages torn from Felicia's schoolbooks, her clothes, her cassette tapes, everything she owned. Who did this? Who hates me so much? Felicia picked up her favorite pullover shirt, shredded. She couldn't even wear it around the house. I can't stay here. I can't stay in this room. She turned and uttered a low moan of terror. Dripping red letters covered the wall. Is that blood? Felicia thought. She focused on the message, struggling to read the smeared letters. Her heart pounded in her ears as she realized what the message said. Run away. Get out now. I know everything.